Sitges is a destination that combines several attractions that make it a delightful day trip. It has beautiful beaches, a wonderful historic center, several excellent museums, a mouth-melting gastronomy, and all this just 40 minutes from Barcelona. Today we're visiting Sitges on a day trip from Barcelona. In the video, you will discover where Sitges is, how to get there, what its beaches are like, what places you should not miss in the small town, and we will share a recommendation of good and tasty Mediterranean food that you will love. Sitges is a coastal town located 40 kilometers from the center of Barcelona. You could get to Sitges by car, but good luck finding a parking space. You could go by bus or you could go by train, the fastest and most beautiful means of transport, which is the one we recommend. The train line that takes you to Sitges is the R2 Sud, south, with final destination Sant Vicenç de Calders. From Barcelona, you can board the train at the stations Francia, Paseo de Gracia and Sants. The approximate duration of the journey is between 30 and 40 minutes. We are getting on the train at Sants station, but the procedure would be the same at any other station in the city. We go to the orange machines to buy a round-trip train ticket. There is usually one or more railway company employees to help passengers, but the purchase is simple. We have to buy a train ticket because the tickets you carry on your T-Mobilitat to travel around Barcelona do not allow you to travel to Sitges. The purchase could not be easier. Choose the language of your choice at the bottom of the screen. Type SIT and select Sitges. Touch on Validate. Choose an adult return ticket to buy a round-trip ticket. Now indicate how many tickets you want to buy, one for each person traveling with you. Now touch on Validate at the bottom of the screen and proceed to pay with coins, bills or cards. The tickets will appear at the bottom of the machine. To access the platforms, you will have to insert your ticket at the barrier in the direction shown on the ticket. Once inside the boarding area, check a screen with information on train departures to see when the next train leaves for Sant Vicenç de Calders, which, as we have already said, is the one that goes through Sitges. The first column shows the train departure time. The last column shows the tracks on which the train usually stops. And the penultimate column shows the platform when it is already confirmed, usually minutes before the train arrives. As indicated on the screen, we will have to go down to tracks 11 and 12. Now pay attention because trains going to different destinations run on the same track. Not all trains running on tracks 11 and 12 go to Sitges. To avoid getting on the wrong train, you should look on the platform screen to see where the next train is going. Also, look for the word Sitges to be 100% sure and get on the train. We can see that the next train passing on track 12 at 11:04 is bound for Sant Vicenç de Calders and will pass through Sitges. That's our train, let's get on it. If you can, try to sit on the left side of the train as during the final stretch of the journey before reaching Sitges, it runs along the sea with very beautiful and spectacular views, especially when it runs through the area known as the Costas de Garraf, with the train tracks just above the sea, with many tunnels along the way. Leaving this spectacular stretch of coastline, the train soon arrives in Sitges. Let's see an aerial image to help us find our way in Sitges. You will see what a compact destination Sitges is. The station is north of the center, 10 minutes walk from the historic center of Sitges by the sea. On one side of the historic center is San Sebastian Beach, isolated from the rest of the town's beaches. On the other side, a long series of beaches as far as the eye can see. Knowing where almost everything is, you are ready to explore Sitges. When you leave the station, the beaches and the historic center are just ahead. To the left, you will find a tourist office in case you want to pick up a map of the town. Let's take a look at the places you should not miss in Sitges. The beaches of Sitges have many fans. If you go to Sitges in summer, you will see the train crowded with people who travel to Sitges just to go to the beach. The beach of San Sebastian is next to the historic center. It is one of the most beautiful in Sitges. It is an urban beach with a wide stretch of sand and is very popular with families. In summer, it is very crowded. On the promenade, there are many restaurants with terraces with views. The main sequence of beaches in Sitges begins on the opposite side of the historic center, next to the small church of San Bartolomé and Santa Tecla. The closest beach to the center is Fragata, with sports facilities. The next is Ribera, frequented by teenagers and families with children. Next is Bassa Rodona, the main gay beach in Sitges, and then a series of beaches popular with families with children: L'Estañol, Riera Chica, Barra and Terramar. There are also several beaches farther out in addition to those just mentioned. The beaches of Sitges have in common an excellent infrastructure with showers and toilets. The waters are clean, and on the beach you will find fine sand. A beautiful promenade allows you to walk along the seafront from beach to beach. The beach season in Sitges depends a lot on the weather, but between April and October you will see many bathers. In July and August, the beaches get crowded. You may not like the beach, or you may visit Sitges outside the beach season. So let's take a look at other places that would be well worth a visit. The oldest part of the center of Sitges is charming, with white houses, historic buildings, and a lot of history that reflects the splendor of the city in the early 20th century. The center is very small and it is impossible to get lost in it, but even so, take the opportunity to stroll through its streets, making discoveries at every step, including remains from the Middle Ages. In the image, we have identified the main points of interest: the Church of San Bartolomé and Santa Tecla, a classic image of Sitges, a historic gun, the town hall, the old modernist market, and the palaces that house the museums. If you are going to visit the one museum in Sitges, our recommendation is to visit the Cau Ferrat and the Maricel museums, which are visited together as they form a single architectural ensemble. The first museum you will enter is the Cau Ferrat Museum, the work of the artist Santiago Rusiñol, who designed it to house his art collection. The artist himself lived in the museum for many years. The ground floor reflects the characteristics of popular architecture. The kitchen, dining room, and the fountain room stand out. On the upper floor, the large neo-Gothic modernist hall is surprising. The collection includes numerous wrought iron objects, as well as paintings, ceramics, and furniture. The artist donated the house workshop to Sitges to convert it into a museum. Even if you are unfamiliar with the artist's work, the museum is worth a visit, both for its architecture and its collection. A corridor connects the Cau Ferrat Museum with the Maricel Museum, which occupies a palace built in the early 20th century, commissioned by an American collector. Over time, the local authorities, who now own the palace, began exhibiting art collections that include works of art from between the 10th and the 20th century. There is a sculpture, painting, furniture, and other arts. In addition to the museums, there is another typically Catalan artistic style that can be seen in many of the streets of downtown Sitges. This is modernismo, the Spanish version of the late 19th century and early 20th century style known in other countries as Art Nouveau. Modernist buildings are scattered throughout the center of Sitges, so keep your eyes open as you stroll through town. In fact, walking around Sitges, up one street and down another, is a great way to spend your time, always making discoveries and enjoying a wonderful little Mediterranean town. While walking through Sitges, you will see many references to the LGBT community. Sitges is one of the most popular gay destinations in the Mediterranean. Let's talk about the food. We ate at El Noi d'Alcoi restaurant, which specializes in rice dishes and Mediterranean cuisine. On weekdays at noon, it offers an excellent menú del día, a set menu which includes a first course, a main course and a dessert for $16.50. Drinks are not included. What makes the menu excellent is that the main course includes rice, a dish that when it's good, it never comes cheap. As starters, we ordered Galician-style octopus and vegetable cannelloni with mushroom bechamel. For the main course, we shared a rice dish with mushrooms and prawns. And for dessert, a tarte tatin and a carquinyol, a typical Catalan sweet with muscatel wine. Everything was very good, and if you want quality rice, you cannot go wrong here. Thus ended our visit to Sitges. Late in the afternoon, we went back to the station to take the train back to Barcelona. As you know, if you have any questions about the subject of the video about Sitges, take advantage of the commentary box to ask. Now you will see on the screen the list of videos we have already published on the channel dedicated to Barcelona. Even more resources to help you plan the perfect trip to the Catalan capital. We look forward to seeing you in those videos.